record.
Oh. Ah. Okay, many people are joining. Thank you.
Yes,
Uh,
we are more than 40 people this morning.
Thank you very much for joining this seminar, for coming. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm very much honored. I'm very
So,
happy.
yes. So, hello everybody. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, because I think that we have persons everywhere in the world this morning.
Oh.
So, my name is Laurent Botti.
Mm.
I am associate professor in tourism management at the University of Perpignan, and I will be the moderator today. So this is the first seminar of the winter seminar cycle of the CRESEM laboratory. For this first event, I believe that the program is very interesting with Professeur Ohe on the topic of evaluating tourism efficiency in Japan, Ryokan, and educational dairy farms. So Yasuo Ohe is a professor at the Department of Agribusiness Management in Tokyo, and more precisely in the Tokyo University of Agriculture in Japan. Your main research, Yasuo, involves economic analysis of rural tourism and farm diversification to establish a viable rural business in tourism and hospitality. So you are currently president of the Japan Society for Interdisciplinary Tourism Studies. You are board member of Asia Pacific Tourism Association and an editorial board member of Tourism Economics, one of the leading research journals in the field. You are also Yasuo permanent board member of the CATEM Workshop Scientific Committee. And today, you are going to present two papers. So first, the first paper, Efficiency Analysis of Japanese Ryokans, a window data approach, co-published with Nicolas Peypoc from the University of Perpignan. And this paper was presented during one of the International Association for Tourism Economics conference, I think in 2015 in Hong Kong. The second paper is about investigating farmers' identity and efficiency of tourism-oriented farm diversification. And this paper, if I'm right, was also presented during one of the International Association for Tourism Economics conference in Italy in 2019. So if you have questions during the lecture of Professor Ohe, you can use the chat box to leave your question, and perhaps we can take a specific moment after your presentation, Yasuo, to answer to different questions. So Yasuo, if it's okay for you, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Now let me share my, oh, sorry. Just a moment.
You can share. Perfect.
Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay.
But the slides are not in full screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Now the slide is in full screen. Perfect for us, Yasuo.
Thank you. Bonjour tous. Je m'appelle Yasuo Ohe. Je suis japonais. I'm sorry, that's all my French word I know. I'm sorry. And so please allow me to speak English here. And thank you very much for having me here today. And I'm very much honored to be here. And now, let's get started. And as already announced, the title of my talk here is evaluating tourism efficiency in Japan and Ryokan and educational daily tourism, as just announced. And now today's topic, as announced, initially I thought two topics, but first one is efficiency evaluation of Ryokan, which is Japanese style accommodations, and the third one, identity of dairy farmers and efficiency. But these two topics are a little bit far apart. So please allow me to talk about a little bit short topic, food heritage issues that connect first topic and the third topic. And this could be a kind of break for you, because it's an additional topic for fun, because food issues, eating is fun for everybody. Now let's start first part. And now I'd like to invite you to a virtual trip to Japan. So I hope you enjoy this my slides. Okay. And now part one, efficiency analysis of Japanese ryokans and the window the approach. And as just announced, this paper was published already based on paper listed here in tourism economics, together with Professor Nicola Pepok. And so let me start by talking about ryokan. Ryokan is traditional accommodation facility operated with Japanese style hospitality. And the top picture demonstrate the almost facade or entrance of ryokan. And second one is inside of room and tatami mat floor room, as you can see, that accommodate at least two people normally, but this room looks larger than two people. Probably a family can stay there. And when you sleep not in bed, but on futon mat, lying out on the tatami mat floor. And when you sleep, you change your clothes with the yukata. The last picture, ladies and girls wear yukata, which is a type of kimono for sleeping and relaxing. So you can relax with just sitting on the floor. Okay. And normally dinner and breakfast are included in the price, like this picture, and meals are all Japanese, normally food, but that depends on the preference, but normally basically Japanese food. And tourists can take large baths together with other tourists. The second picture showed the large baths. And if you go to the hot spring, we say onsen, because we have a lot of volcanoes. 7% of active volcanoes located in such a small island, Japan. It's quite a large percentage. And because of this, we have a big earthquake, but also we have advantage of hot springs, many hot springs. And that is a very relaxing time, and you can soak your body in the onsen. It's so nice. And now I'd like to talk to you about the trend and issues of ryokan. And if you look at this figure, we can easily recognize there's a contrasting trend. And blue line, it's increasing right upward, represent number of hotel rooms. And on the other hand, decreasing line, brown line represent number of ryokan rooms. It's quite decreasing, and red line represent ryokan facilities, number of ryokan facilities. So facility-wise and room-wise, they are decreasing. And now number of hotels are surpassed number of ryokans. So increase in the number of hotels while decrease in the number of ryokans. Why? This is because traditional ryokans tend to have low level of managerial skills and fail to catch up demand changes, and resulting in low profitability and have to go out of business eventually without successors. And this is very sad situation because tourists from eager to stay in ryokans, but actually it's closing doors and out of business, one from another. It's so sad. So, or rapid decrease rate of ryokans are evidence of lack of innovation in business. So that's why we focus on this issue. That is our motivation. And now, literature review. Research on efficiency and productivity analysis applied to hospitality sector is very extensive. And literature review can be divided according to the approach employed. As many people knows here, DEA is a non-parametric approach, and stochastic frontier approach is a parametric approach based on regression models. And regarding DEA applied to hotel sector, a group of our staff present a recent and interesting survey and very extensive literature review they conducted. And in our knowledge, however, a few studies employ the window DEA approach, except Italian researcher, I suppose, Prina et al. So that's why we apply this methodology to Ryokan issues. Now data. Ryokan data here was obtained from Japan Ryokan Hotel Association and issued in this association and annually, and that conducted the annual survey on member ryokans. The membership of this association is limited to ryokans designated as international tourism ryokan, ITR, by the tourism agency. And these designated ryokans are required to offer services that international tourists can stay, which means ITRs are relatively high-end ryokans with higher managerial capabilities than the average. So required services are language skills and signboards in English, Western breakfast menu, and bed-style sleeping equipment if you prefer. And as of this study time, over 3,000 ITRs are registered. And now, specific data for evaluation. We conducted two different kinds of analysis. First one is region-wise analysis, and second is size-wise analysis. And because of the data, available data are different because zoning has changed in this data. So there's no consistent data throughout the period from 2005 to 2012. So we have to compromise in region-wide study from 2005 to 2008. And inputs are two inputs, number of employees, number of rooms, and output, two outputs, total revenue and number of stays. And size-wise analysis, we could take a full length of data period. And this is a DEA analysis. It's a simple explanation. Probably almost everybody or student already know about what DEA is. So just briefly touch upon at this point. And efficiency measurement and the benchmarking methodology. And there are two types. CCR, BCC, and CCR is assumed constant return to scale. So frontier line becomes linear, frontier becomes linear, and DA is obtained the ratio between output and input. So point B is attained highest output. That means highest efficiency be attained like this. And the BCC model, on the other hand, is a variable return to scale. So frontier have to kink in some points. Okay. Now, DA window analysis. The principal main point is that given unit over different time period, and it's considered as a different unit. And the length of window is region-wise 2 years, and scale-wise analysis 4 years. And now result. Chat. I guess that. Okay, just a moment. I'll answer later. And now result. The table showed the efficiency score. And from this score, we can say that Hokkaido, it's a northern island, attained the highest efficiency, while Chugoku area was lowest, relatively low. And but you don't have good knowledge on the Japanese geography. So I prepared for the map of Japan and tourist attractions here. Now let me a little bit explain about Japanese island. We have 4 main island, Northern Island, Hokkaido, and then main island, Honshu and Shikoku and Southern Kyushu. And then far south, Okinawa Island. And from the north, the Hokkaido Island is located in a subarctic climate. And it's famous for natural beauty like this picture. And Niigata and Tohoku area is under the Hokkaido. It has rich rural heritage. And people are very diligent, and but with warm-hearted and beautiful girls. It's well famous. This picture, it's very famous in Japan. It said beauty of Akita. Akita is in the Tohoku area, and yes, so I would say Tohoku is the heart of Japan, and they are very shy people. And now Kanto area, it looks like here. So I show you the pointer, probably. No, no pointer. So here, Kanto area. This is Tokyo night view, and Tokyo Tower. It's just a symbol of Tokyo. It's like Eiffel Tower in Paris, and most densely populated area. And Izu and Hakone is a very small area, but close to Mount Fuji. So when you go to the springtime, you can enjoy cherry blossom with beautiful Mount Fuji, like this. And on the other hand, on Japanese coastline, we have a lot of snow in wintertime, and one of the deepest snowfall area in the world. And like this, if you look at this picture, it's amazing. So deep snowfall. This is a springtime, and in wintertime, this mountain road is closed due to the heavy snowfall. And in springtime, it's reopened, and you can compare the size of bus and how deep snowfall is. So this is very unique landscape, so attract a lot of tourists from Southeast Asian countries because they don't know snowfall. And now Kinki area, it has ancient capital Kyoto. And Kyoto has two best seasons, I think, the springtime and, in my view, autumn season, the best season in Kyoto, because as you can see, this picture, it's so beautiful, colorful leaves, because we have wider variety of colorful leaves than European counterpart. So from red to yellow, brown, and so various kind of leaves you can enjoy. And now Chugoku and Shikoku area here, and in between we have inland sea. It's like Mediterranean Sea. We say sometimes Japanese Mediterranean Sea. Of course, size is much smaller, but there are a lot of small islands and high-tech modern bridge connecting these small islands. So it's this quite unique landscape you can never see in other part of Japan. And now Kyushu also has many volcanoes, and like this, it looks like Borbic in France. Probably you have a nostalgia. And now we reach the far southernmost island, Okinawa. It's subtropical, so you can swim and in mid-winter time in such a beautiful coastline. And so we can do skiing while we can swim in mid-winter time, same time. So because we have a 3,000 kilometers range, small islands, but very long vertically. And that brings a lot of local diversity, climate diversity, diverse fauna and flora, and also local cultures and mentality of peoples. And yes, we are such a small country, but so diverse, actually. Okay, now let's move on to the next page. In 2007, there's a bump. 2007 to 8, probably economic crisis. Okay, and now we compare the two regions. Hokkaido is the highest efficient area, and Chugoku is the lowest area. So we compare the tourist attractions. For instance, in Hokkaido, Hokkaido attracts tourists for all seasons. In summertime, it's renowned countryside landscape. It's more like Europe. And often, a friend of mine in Europe often says, it's like Europe. So yes, you have nostalgia when you visit Hokkaido. But not only in summertime, but also wintertime, a lot of attractions. For instance, Sapporo Snow Festival attracts a lot of tourists from abroad, from Asian and tropical Asian countries as well, and also attract a lot of wealthy Australians who want to do powder snow skiing. And some of them buy a condominium and second house in Hokkaido, and yes, it's become one of the famous ski resort in Asia Pacific areas. And another attraction in wintertime is floating sea ice in the Okhotsuku area, Okhotsuku Sea, and whole sea is covered with sea ice, and Shiretoko Peninsula is became one of the World Natural Heritage Site. And on the other hand, now look at the Chugoku area. Also, it has a few famous attractions, such as Miyajima Shrine, which is World Cultural Heritage Site, and it's famous for the big shrine gate standing in the sea, and the red shrine gate. And Hiroshima A-bomb dome is also a World Cultural Heritage Site as a symbol of dark tourism. But there are many local festivals, but not well known. So these differences become efficiency differences. And now we look further Hokkaido and compare the t-test by t-test, Hokkaido and other regions in terms of number of rooms and percentage of tourists from abroad, and number of rooms and percentage of tourists from abroad. Two categories. In two categories, Hokkaido has advantages. These are the reason for Hokkaido's highest efficiency. Okay, and now we look at second result, efficiency by scale, and large scale, middle scale, and small scale. And this is a comparison between three categories. And large scale ryokans are relatively more efficient, and that is a blue one. And the economic crisis affected significantly small scale ryokans. And if you look at the figure, you can see the bump in 2008 and then stagnant. And so gap between the size, between large and small size ryokans are widening. And however, the impact of 2011 tsunami disaster seems not significant over the period studies at this study. Okay, and now discussion at the regional level. Hokkaido is the best region in terms of beauty of nature, famous seafood and farm product, and subarctic climate attracting skiers and holidaymakers evacuating from summer heat. So a lot of advantages. At the same size level, we found the variations in efficiency between the large and small ryokans, and gap is widening due to the economic crisis. And so it needs to increase managerial capability in ryokans, definitely. So, and a few, this is the last seat, future research could be service quality investigation is necessary, and because ryokan is much more labor intensive than Western hotels. So the service is good, but labor intensive. And because of this, it's ryokans now difficulty to find a good employee. And so need to include, look at the cost of labor now. And we are actually now addressing this issue as a second study. I hope we publish the results soon. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. That is our first part. Thank you.
Many thanks, Yasuo, for this very interesting presentation of your first paper. Do you want that we take the question concerning this presentation now or after your second presentation? What do you want?
Okay, one by one. Okay.
One by one? Okay, so we can, because we have two questions from the students.
Yeah.
Give me just a minute to find them. Okay, and I have to say that we have three questions. Okay, so first, we have a first question from Hugo. And his question is about your datas. Because if I understand well, your datas are from 2007, I think, to 2013. And Hugo asked if the datas have changed since 2012 or 2013, and more precisely, what is the impact of the COVID crisis concerning your data. And I think that the question from Hugo is also a question that concerns the number of Ryokan and the number of rooms. You know, it's your figure, the first figure you show us with the number of Ryokan and traditional hotels and the number of rooms. I think it was previous. This one.
Yeah. This one?
Yes, this one.
Yeah.
So do you have some information concerning this figure with the number of Ryokans and the number of rooms until the COVID crisis? I mean,
COVID, there's no COVID in 2012. So, okay, COVID, the first COVID.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it has a little bit impact, but not seriously in Japan, because there's no just few cases of contamination, infection cases in that that time. So impact.
And the trends, because you said that we can find a positive trend with more and more hotels rooms and less Ryokan rooms. And these trends are pursuing or not nowadays?
Oh yeah, it's still continue.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still continue until before the COVID. Because we have Olympic Games in Tokyo. So construction of hotels are booming until COVID-19.
Okay.
Yeah. And but sudden. So now we face a sudden drop of business due to the COVID, because we closed the country, not only Japan, but many countries crossed the border.
Yes.
Yeah. So no tourists from abroad at this moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And after, we have two questions concerning the methodology and the results.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can first take the question concerning the results. And Odd, which is also a student, ask why there is no region in 2005 with an efficiency result of 1. I think, yes, we are on the right slide. And we cannot find a region with an efficiency result of 1. And I think that Odd is asking why, because I know that Odd know how the DEA works. And perhaps she asks, if we do not have a region which is efficient, how can we compare the other regions? I think it's a particularity of the window data process. But what?
Probably this is average. So
yes,
not low efficiency score, because of the mean, it's added and get the average. Probably that is a reason, I suppose.
Yes, it's the mean of the efficiency of all the ryokans of the region.
Yeah, right.
But we can find for Hokkaido that there is an improvement of their efficiency.
Yes, yes.
For this
yes.
region and
Yes.
these ryokans.
Yes, yes.
And
Yes, because it has advantage. Always popular destination, Hokkaido is.
okay.
Yeah,
And
summertime, as I said, summertime and wintertime and autumn season, and yes.
Okay.
Probably.
And
that's. I'm sorry, I cannot
yes.
say.
Yes,
yeah,
no, but it's okay. I think
answer,
you give the answer. It's because we have here a mean of the efficiency of all the ryokans of the region.
Yeah.
And Odd have also a question concerning the cost of labor. And you talked about that at the end of your presentation in terms of future research.
Yeah.
Yes. And she asked how, what is your project to include the cost of labor as an input?
Yes, we compare the cost structure. Not employ the DEA model. There's a method, another method we employ.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And you will talk about this other method in the second presentation.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Perfect. We have another question from Zana Fatalova.
Yeah.
And the person would like to ask, why is there a lack of investment in ryokans? Because they illustrate, and you show us that point, they illustrate the ryokans Japanese tourism and promote Japanese traditions. So why there is a lack of investment in these traditional hotels?
Yes, yes. This is a very, thank you. This is a very good question, and but difficult to solve because most ryokans are very old. Facilities are very old. Not only architecture, but also equipment and many facilities, and also employees are getting old. And that means no vitality and to try to do new things. And that is a reason. So low motivation and everything getting old, including human resources. And yes, that is a reason. And it's a vicious cycle. Low profitability. That's why it's difficult to hire a good employee, and successors don't come, and it's a vicious cycle, and ends up with out of business eventually. This is a very sad situation, and actually service quality is not good in ryokan. And the picture I show you is top level ryokans, probably. And normal ryokan, the service is not good and very old style. And actually, food, the quality of food is not good. So there's many points that needs improvement in service quality, actually. But they cannot catch up. They need money for that, but they don't have money. So this is a very dilemma, big dilemma they face. So now many these ryokans are bought by foreign capitals, like Chinese capitals. And when they buy these ryokans and transform into, I think it's for Chinese preference, with Chinese preference. So it's cause another issues It's not, it looks like ryokan. They say ryokan, but actually its contents is not ryokan anymore. So it is authenticity issues that's coming up. It's very complicated situation now. So anyway, the true, the most important thing is to raise the capability of yoga management. That is the core point.
So
Did I answer you?
many thanks, Yasuo, for your
Yeah.
answer. That means that for French students, for example,
Yeah.
they can go to Japan to manage ryokans, because if you have the problem of successors to manage ryokans, perhaps they can make a relevant career, professional career in Japan.
But remember, very long working hours in ryokans, from the early morning to the late at night. It's very hard work, ryokans. That is one reason young people don't want to go into this business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and yes.
There is another question. There is another question, Yasuo, from Nguyen Nguyen, and it's a question which is very close to mine. I would like to ask if it's possible to test the link between the typology of regions, I mean the specific conditions of each region, to the efficiency of its ryokans, its hotels. Because as Nguyen Nguyen say, if the region is favorable or not, there is a link, there is an impact on the efficiency. So what is your opinion concerning this question? I mean, for ryokans which have a result of 1, which are efficient, is it because the region is attractive, or is it due to an efficiency with human resources and managerial skills?
Yeah, it's a difficult question.
Is it an exogenous impact or something which is catch in the model of managerial skills? Perhaps we have to conduct other research to answer.
I think in my view, hotel, I think the most efficient accommodation in Japan is a business hotel. It's very specialized in the business guest in big cities. Just go to bed and for business people, and there's no restaurant, just for providing bedroom. So this is very specialized and very efficient. So that is one reason that the hotel becomes increasing, because its management is more efficient than ryokans. Because business hotel can be specialized in one thing, just for bed. But ryokans, you have to prepare for food and take care of guests, and also prepare for the big bath. It takes a lot of time to cleaning up every day. So it's many things to do.
Okay.
That is a difference.
Okay.
So we have to be careful. We are not in a Western country. We have a traditional ryokan and also Western style hotels. We have both.
Yes.
Yes. So comparison is a little bit complicated. And for instance, the big ryokans looks like a hotel. There's no difference. And because they provide bedrooms and also Japanese style rooms. So the border is a mixing actually. Western and ryokans, in especially high-end ryokans, it's mixing.
Okay,
They have features of hotels as well.
Thank you, Yasuo. And we have a last question from Aurélie, who asks if there is a labeling process for Ryokan. Is there a specific labeling process in terms of quality, for example, or in terms of star rating? I don't know. Is there something specific for Ryokans?
ITR is one of the such kind of quality assurance for especially for tourists from abroad. But not well organized. Otherwise, other parts are not well organized, especially rank and file ryokans. These are very cheap ryokans are not well qualified. So grading, you mean classification, not well conducted at this moment. So that could be one issues, but did I answer? Not complete answer, but
yes, I think, but we can come back on this question after, perhaps.
Okay.
Perhaps we can switch to the second article. Yasuo?
Yeah.
Yes?
Okay. Now, just
okay. Some students ask me if you can share with us your PPT. Is it possible for you to send me after, during the day, your PPT?
And now let me start. And before talking about food heritage issue, I need to talk about a little bit about the background of food heritage issue, because we have a food education law, which was enacted 2005. It's like just like a French PNNS. I know your famous catchphrase, "Manger bouger." Yeah, it sounds nice to me. And yeah, we have the similar program in Japan, but we have special reasons that we need it and common reasons. And these are the reasons listed, 4 reasons are listed. And the first reason is very special to Japan, declining food self-sufficiency. Because now, if you look at this figure, which showed the food self-sufficiency rate of industrial countries. And on the left, Japan, it's decreasing. It's very special case. And now we have only 40%, less than 40% of food we eat. So rest of 60% we import from abroad. And this is critical situation. If something happened abroad, we might starve. But in France, for instance, always over 100%. That means you export food to other countries because you are a big agriculture country as well. You have also high-tech industry, but also a big agriculture and exporting food. So this is quite different. So that is the first reason. And the second reason is it's quite a big dilemma. We imported a lot of food, but we thrown away also a lot of food waste at the same time. This is a great pity, and waste of important resources. Wow. And we have to address this issue seriously. And third issue is rather common, increasing lifestyle diseases like diabetes and cancer and heart attack, something like that. And but lesser minor degrees compared with Europeans, but number of these patients are increasing surely. And so we have to address this issue. So healthy diet is very important. And the fourth is also a special reason and common reason to some extent, aging national population, because Japan is the first super aging society in the world, and now followed by Italy and Germany and some other European countries. And now we reach a percentage of 65 years old. Population percentage is now 25%, and this percentage will increase further and probably 40% in 15 years. So this is very critical issue, and not only Japan but also in Europe. Sooner or later, you have same problem anyway, and so food education for all generation is necessary now. And this is a brief outline of basic law. And we had a long discussion, and state can intervene in the personal life, because diet is very personal issue, and everybody don't want to be ordered by the government what we should eat. No way, but situation getting worse, so we finally set up this law, and with inductive way rather than a punitive way, because democratic country we are, and every 5 years this basic plan is renewed. Now fourth basic plan is undergoing, and this light downward. This is one of the slogan. Let's eat breakfast, for especially for youngs and school kids. And the main aims of food education is enhancement of educational value of school lunch, because every elementary school we provide 100% school lunch is provided in elementary school, and 80% in junior high school. And the parents often request using more local food and provide farm experience services together with school lunch. For instance, raising rice and cooking harvested rice and visiting dairy farm, something like that. And also enhancement of food health conscious behavior in every generation, as I said. And this picture shows the school kids serve lunch by themselves. This is our custom, a kind of tradition, and sometimes teachers help them when they are small. And another pillar of food education is understanding of food heritage issue. And Japanese food, we say washoku, was designated as UNESCO World Heritage, intangible cultural heritage in 2013. And in this line, camaraderie between French and Japanese chefs are particularly well known, and stimulating each other, and yes, generate new food heritage respectively. And now let me talk about uniqueness of washoku, Japanese food. In Western world, this is well known for basic taste, which is sweetness, sourness, saltiness, and bitterness. This is 4 basic tastes. But there's another basic taste, uniquely named in Japanese food, umami, which is obtained from amino acid and now widely recognized as 5 basic tastes. And we take umami from this soup, which contains a lot of umami. Now, these are the sources of umami, and we say dashi. Dashi soup makes a basic soup for Japanese food, and these are ingredients to take umami. Dried kelp and mostly seaweed, and dried small sardine and dried bonito. Dried bonito is the most hardest food in the world. When we eat, we grind it. And dried mushroom. We have a lot of mushroom because of the humid climate. We love mushroom like French people. And this is interesting. I'd like to introduce one interesting anecdote from France, actually. Interesting, this is very interesting evidence. French oceanic scientists published a very interesting paper in Nature in 2010. And they found that Japanese people have special bacteria in intestine that digest kelp, seaweed. And this bacteria is not found in people of any other countries. Only Japanese have it. And this is a kind of evolution to the environment, similar to the case of sea iguana in Galapagos in Peru, that have a flat tail, enabling them to swim fast and catch a fish in the sea. It's quite similar evolution. We don't have flat tails, but we have a bacteria in the intestine, and also we have fins between fingers. No, it's joking, but interesting story from France. And now I give you an example of dashi-based food. Miso soup is a typical case. Dashi soup, based on dashi soup, and we add miso or fermented bean paste and tofu. Tofu is now popular in Europe as well. It's from soybean paste. It's like a little bit like mozzarella, and vegetables and mushroom are added. And so dashi is the base of every Japanese food, and it is just like a French bouillon and Italian broth. And now, but what the significance of umami? Is it so important? What role it has? Yes, it is very important. And recent studies in Western countries discover that umami is a crucial element of healthy diet. And if you have a good sense of umami in your tongue, you can satisfy food with less amount than that of those do not. Put differently, those do not have good sense of umami are likely to eat too much, and which leads to health issues in the long run. So umami is very important, but how can we have a good sense of umami? Is it possible to get it? Yes, it is. It's very simple, because it was also revealed that eating too much junk food and strong taste food like hot or too oily, too salty, too much soda, and drink too much alcohol destroy your umami sensor. And it is possible that eating good food appropriately recovers and keeps your umami sensor in good shape and healthy life. So in this sense, traditional Mediterranean food is good for this. Therefore, the 5 basic tastes, umami is very important for your joy of food and the discovery of your food heritage as well. That is my conclusion. Thank you. And now I give you a homework. This is elementary level. Choose a right name for a set of picture: sushi, soba, tempura. Which picture is tempura? Okay. Now the second one is intermediately one, and shabu shabu, sukiyaki, ramen. And which is ramen? And actually, only this one. Nicola Paypok said that he has a class, so he don't.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So don't talk to him. This is only yeah.
Yes.
When he is in Japan, he ate ramen 3 times a day. He's a really ramen freak. Yes.
Ramen, it's a set of pictures C, I think.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Nicholas Paypok. Nicholas Paypok like it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And
Eat well,
eat
live
well
well.
live. Yes.
Yeah.
Eat well live well.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes. Many thanks, Yasuo, for this funny presentation on
Okay.
the umami sensor.
Yeah.
And I think that you give a lot of relevant informations concerning the super aging society.
Yeah.
I was not informed that Italy and Germany was just after in the ranking, just after Japan. And
Yes.
do you know what is the rank of France on this ranking?
France, it's yes. I think close. Anyway,
Yes. Yes.
yes. But you have a lot of immigrant as well, so it's. But sooner or later, you'll join our team.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we are waiting for
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasuo. And do you want after to talk to us concerning the farmer's identity?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any
Or
question?
is there a question? I'm
Oh,
not
yeah,
sure.
short question. If yeah, about food heritage issues. I think it's very interesting. Yeah, French scientists found that. Yeah, Japanese has bacteria. Yeah.
Yes, because we
Okay.
have our PNNS
Yeah. Yeah.
CHEM, Programme National Nutrition Santé in French, and which the diversification of fooding.
Yeah. Okay.
Perhaps we will have other
Yeah.
questions
Okay.
concerning that point after.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So
So let's move on to the third topic. Right.
let's go.
Okay. So just sorry, once I shut off. Okay, now third topic.
Yes, good. Farmer's identity.
Yeah. Okay, now welcome to third part 3. Farmers' identity and efficiency of tourism-oriented diversification, a case of educational dairy farms. And also this study is based on the published paper in tourism economics. Now let me start. Okay. And this is a research question. It's quite simple one. Are farms conducting tourism-related activity more efficient than non-tourism conducting farms? The hypothesis here is that factors at subconscious level actually determine the efficiency, not conscious level, but subconscious level is important, which has not been explored. And this study addressed the issues of subconscious level issues, and that is identity of farmers by incorporating behavioral economic perspective with rapidly growing field. And DEA models are employed by focusing on educational dairy farms, EDFs, which is the most well-organized and experienced group of farmers that provide educational tourism to consumers. And actually, this group association is based on the knowledge we learned from ferme pédagogique in France. So origin is born in France, and we learned a lot from their experience. That is a starting point, but now we evolved, we have evolved very a different way, a little bit, but we are very much appreciated pioneering experience of ferme pédagogique. Okay, and why identity matters? Integration of tourism into farmyard needs farmers' identity change, which needs to address farmers' mindset at subconscious level. And this is because traditional farm identity is deeply rooted in the tangible production-oriented mindset, and which is quite different from the service and the hospitality-oriented mindset. And this is one reason of slow progress of tourism-oriented farm diversification. That is an issue in this country. And so first, I'd like to define the identity, what identity is. It's a very simple one. It's a norm of behavior based on Akerlof and Clanton. They conducted the pioneering work on identity from economic perspective. And we focus on subconscious level issues. Here, occupational identity, we say, because dairy farms are involved in farming as a job. So we address occupational identity. And this is a very common issue in everywhere. Not only in Japan, but every part of the world, because when you behave in accordance with your own identity, you can conduct very comfortably and efficiently in everyday life. But not in accordance with your own identity, it's not comfortable, but it's not efficient. So, when starting a new activity, it is necessary to form a suitable occupational identity. But how to measure identity? Because identity is only in your heart. We cannot see from outside. But there's two ways to measure, in my view, subjectively. So that means we have to ask the people what identity you have. And this is a subjective way, but it's difficult to sometimes ask. And I take objective way, because if we can find clear criteria that we can observe from outside, and then we can differentiate what identity people have. So we take objectively. Then, which leads to more easy to design policy measures. And now literature review. And Akerlof and Clanton introduced the issues of identity into economics. And as I said, it's pioneering work, but they did not conduct any tourism research nor quantitative evaluation. It's a qualitative, but very stimulating and provocative discussion they conducted. It's very fruitful for me. And while there have not been expert operators' identity, Ohe, me, conducted a series of studies on identity by focusing on EDFs with objective criterion. However, more clear criteria needs to be set, and financial data should be examined for more rigid efficiency evaluation. But in managerial field, there are similar terminology already, managerial strategy or managerial capability like that. And what's the difference between the identity and these conventional terminology? And the difference is identity focusing on subconscious level, while managerial capability and strategy focusing on conscious level issues, and especially identity matters when farmer conduct new activity that is not consecutive change from conventional activity. In that case, occupational identity matters. That is a difference why and the rationale to study about identity issues. Now, for empirical evaluation, I consider three different dairy farmers' identity. Traditional identity, the first one is traditional identity. And that is very conventional dairy farms identity, just milking and without processing and direct selling. No orientation toward diversification in this case. And second and third cases are related to educational dairy farms. Second one, enlarged case. Those of farmers provide educational service to consumers and school kids, but they do not do any processing and direct selling. And no, that means no practicing diversification. And just providing educational service as a kind of volunteer to the local community. And third one is different from previous two cases. These educational dairy farms, of course, they provide educational service to local communities, but also providing processed food, processed dairy product to consumers, so directly selling. And in this sense, they are oriented toward viable diversification. And from this consideration, we can say that the processing and the direct selling is a quite objective criteria that draw line between second and third identity. So we can use this is for criteria. That is my idea for empirical analysis. And but identity change is not easy all the time. But this is well explained by behavioral economic factors. Three factors can be considered. The first one is priming effect, which means people tend to be influenced by the knowledge and skills that they were exposed in use. Yeah, that is true. And second is framing effect. The subconscious idea becomes a norm and determines the decision making. This is also true. And third is easy to understand, status quo bias. People tend to stay in what it has been done. They don't want to move from what it is now. They want to stay, sit at it is. So these are the factors that make it difficult to change identities. Okay, now methodology. We have to collect financial data for precise evaluation, but it's difficult to obtain without cooperation of study firms because financial data is very confidential one, very much privacy issues. So we have to kindly ask farmers. And before that, I present a theoretical framework that connect diversification and efficiency issues through the identity of farm operator. And then based on this framework, I move on to the empirical evaluation by slack-based measure DEA model by taking into account of recent development of Tone. Tone developed slack-based measure DEA model, and which has not been it's not correct, not being fully applied in tourism. Okay, data, we collected various sources of data. For instance, milk production from Chiba Dairy Cooperatives and number of visitors from Japan Dairy Council. And also we conducted interview survey to farmers in winter time, relatively free time they have. And among 18 study farms, only 11 farms disclose the financial data because of the privacy issues. And but we pooled this data, and the panel sample size was 27 from 2008 to 2016. And now conceptual framework, and this framework showed the diversified activity and identity factors, and horizontally measure diversified activity level and vertically value. And there are two kinds of curves are depicted. Right downward in orange represent marginal benefit of diversification, and right upward in blue represent marginal cost of diversification. And when two curves meet, optimal diversified level will be determined. In the first case, traditional identity case is attained here when SB0 meet MC0 at ET. And at this point, most least diversified activity is undertaken. And the second case, sub-enlarged identity case, in this case, only MC curves shift rightwardly because of they understand the economy of scope. They can now manage farm resources more efficiently than traditional identity case because they provide educational service to consumers. So that means they need to find their farm resources that are available for consumers as educational material. And then third case, enlarged identity case, both demand shift from SB0 to SB1, demand increase because they now sell product directly to consumers, and cost reduction due to education dairy farm activity. So in this case, optimal point will be E, and most diversified activity case. This is my basic framework. Based on this framework, now we move on to the empirical evaluation. And this table shows the outline of surveyed EDFs. And the average age of operator is 49, so relatively young compared with the average of Japanese farmers. And number of milk cows, 54. And now this is a comparison between two groups, those of doing processing and direct selling and those not doing this activity. And orange one represent those of doing processing and direct selling. And t-test results show that those of yellow group, orange group has a higher revenue, of course, but higher cost structure they have. So we cannot tell which is efficient or not, only from this table. That's why we need to measure a DA model. Now, DA model, variables for DA model, input, three input I consider. This is a very ordinary input variables: total labor cost, total feed cost, and total capital cost. And output, I consider three different kind. Revenue from milk production. This is a main revenue of dairy farmers, of course, and total revenue diversification, including selling processed dairy product, and also selling calves to meat companies like that, and total revenue altogether. Now, specific methodology, output-oriented slack-based measure model. And it is rational to assume that the slacks or unused farm resources exist in the farmyard. So to realize efficient farm diversification, it is rational to minimize slacks, which is consistent with the orientation of SBM models. Since SBM model is to minimize slacks, SBM model is suitable for the evaluation of farm tourism diversification. Okay, now let me show you the result. This is one output case. Only consider milk production. And in this case, there's no statistical differences in efficiency between the two groups. And this is another case, one output, total revenue. In this case, there was statistical differences in terms of return to scale case here, and processing and direct selling this group is higher efficiency, attained higher efficiency than those not. And this is a third case, is the most realistic case, two output case, revenue from milk production and total diversified revenue. And again, constant return to scale case, there were statistical differences, and those of processing direct selling enjoyed higher efficiency. But this resulted size neutral. It's interesting result. Now let me conclude. This study verified that those farms that have processing and direct selling of dairy products attained higher efficiency than those not have it. And those farmers who have the enlarged identity realize higher efficiency in farm management through the two sectors. I mean, milk production and diverse tourism-oriented diversification sectors. And theoretically, this study demonstrated the identity effect appears in two ways: demand creation and farm resource management, which reduce the cost, marginal cost. And therefore, it should be noted that enlargement of perspective of farm management is necessary condition for the realization of efficient processing and direct selling, and so tourism-oriented diversification. This issue is very important. And now policy recommendation. Identity issue is size neutral. It's free from size constraint. It's a good finding, I think, because dairy farming is defined by size, always defined by size. But tourism-oriented diversification, it's size neutral. It's free from size constraint. That is nice. In this context, identity should be included in the category of managerial capability, especially for tourism-oriented diversification. The set of conceptual framework and the DA measures is applicable to cases of agritourism in other areas as well. But limitation of this study exists as well. And this study is only limited the suburb of Tokyo metropolitan area. So the same result should be confirmed in other areas in Japan or abroad where large-scale dairy farmings are more common. That is my conclusion, and these are references. And merci beaucoup. And also, I'm very grateful to the technical support given by Professor Nicolas Pepok, Ramen Freak. The original survey was financed by the Japan Milk Association. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Yasuo, for this interesting presentation and this very detailed paper. So if I understand well, you would like to confirm your conclusions by doing the same research abroad for you, so perhaps in France, in which we have educational dairy farms and identity.
Yes.
Is it the idea to develop the same?
It's nice. it's nice proposal. Yeah, it's nice idea.
Okay, we
Yeah,
can perhaps work on that point.
yeah,
And I have a question concerning
yeah.
perhaps some references.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
very interesting. It's something with output-oriented Slack-based measure. And you said, you know, this is the slide with the cow. You have a slide with the cow on the upper side. I don't know which one is it.
What result you mean?
Yes, the number 15, I think.
Number 15.
Yes, this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you said that it is rational to assume that the slacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the slacks are unused resources. And what I do not understand here is the fact that you make this assumption in an output-oriented model.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because my intuition is that it works in the case of an input-oriented model. Can you please explain me that point another time?
Okay, thank you. And yeah.
Understand? Because for
yeah,
me,
I
the
understand.
unused resources
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
on
but,
the side of the inputs.
Yes. Yes. And
But I understand also that concerning the outputs, the unused outputs,
yeah,
it's something which is linked with the economy of scope, I think. But
yes,
you understand?
and
Oh,
yeah, I think why output oriented is because it's always dairy farmers try to maximize the milk production and the sales revenue.
okay.
So that's why I assumed output oriented
Okay.
Slack based.
Okay.
But yes, yes, I
So
get your
it's
point.
an
I get your
unused.
point.
Yes,
Yeah, but
it's an unused. This is the diversification. If there
yeah,
is a Slack,
diversification.
that
Yeah,
means that they can propose a diversification.
yeah, right.
But okay, it's the concept of resources.
Yeah, in that case, you mean input oriented?
Yes.
Huh?
And then do you have some references to give to me and to the students who would like to look at that point? Is there a literature concerning Slacks and their link to unused resources?
That is my understanding. So there's no reference.
Okay.
It's my understanding. So yes, I think yes, you are right.
It's something which is
But
really interesting. Okay. So perhaps we have questions from students and colleagues.
Yeah.
Perhaps we have question concerning the identity also. I can ask you to go back to the slide. I don't know the number. Perhaps it's
sorry, there's no number in the slide.
Yes, it's the number 7. The number 7 is very interesting.
Yeah.
If I understand well, the criteria for you concerning the identity is about two things: the process and the direct selling.
Yeah.
So 2 criteria.
No, it's processing and the direct
yes.
selling is almost the same because
okay.
Because they want to sell processed food directly. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's normally it's consistent processing and direct selling. It's one set.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is something I do not understand well,
Mm-hmm.
because EDF, this is
Yeah.
for educational dairy farm.
Yeah. Yes.
And I cannot find here in this
Yeah.
criteria, which is about a commercial activity, I cannot find the educational process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, educational dairy farms. I only focus on educational dairy farms. So sample I took here always provide educational service. So educational service is a common factor in this sample size, in this sample study case. Did I answer?
Yes, yes. Okay, okay. Many thanks for your answer, Yasuo. And
Okay.
do we have questions from students and colleagues?
Yeah. Yes, I welcome your
Feel free
student
to
question.
ask any question.
Yeah, please.
If we do not have question at the moment, we have a
just,
previous. Yes, we have two
yeah.
questions
Yeah.
from Odd, which is one of my students, and I can
Yeah.
thank her for these two questions. So we didn't hear before about SBM model. Yes, this is the case. And I find difficult to understand why to minimize slacks. Okay, dimension efficiency is not important. And how did you evaluate the identity? Yes, this is a good question. By interview survey? Odd is asking how you evaluate the identity. So is it an interview or you look at documents?
Yeah, I also interviewed, but criteria is as shown here, page 7. Whether they conduct processing and direct selling or not. This is a very objective criteria. We can observe objectively. So that's why I use.
You ask them that point?
And we can
or
observe.
You look at their website or something else?
Yeah. Also ask them. And yeah, but we can notice on the farmyard because there's a shop and there's some room for processing, making cheese or ice cream.
Okay.
Okay.
I understand. And I think that you answer the question. And another question is how to make the difference between occupational identity and managerial skills.
Yeah, managerial skills is, as I said, I focus on here subconscious level issues. So identity, it's deeply rooted in your heart. So you are not always conscious. It's unconscious level issues. But managerial issues are rather conscious issues because you want to do that because you need to understand that. But identity is a little bit different. It's not so much logical. It's more emotional one. But it's it's rational actually. So
it's in the slide number 6. It's in the slide number 6, just before this one.
Yeah.
Please.
Yes, this one.
Yes, this one.
Yes, is this one. And if production function, it's many economists measured production function, and I also have experience measuring production function in several times. But this is rather constant change. So you implicitly assume same activities are going on. But in if you try a new activity that has not have been done before, it's not consecutive change, it's unconsecutive change. In this case, identity matters because you have to change your identity mindset. Otherwise, you cannot succeed in new business. That is my point. So that is a difference between the conventional production, function, measurement, and education, identity issue. When we consider identity issue. Did I answer?
Yes, I think,
Yeah,
and I think also that
it's
in your
a new
paper,
idea. It's a new idea, so it's a little bit difficult to explain.
But I think that in your paper we can find also some references on that point, and read a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay,
and just one thing, and identity is a common topic in sociology and psychology field.
Yes.
Yes. So Akarov and Clanton get a hint from their output in different disciplines. That is an interesting point. So yeah, we can learn from other disciplines as well. That is another point.
So we have another question from Nguyen Nguyen.
Yeah.
And the question is, what is the difference between pre-enlarged dairy farmer and enlarged dairy farmer? Are they a group of farmer or just a farmer with a higher capacity of the financial capital?
No. It's please look at page 7.
Yes.
And which explained sub-enlarged case. It's the same educational dairy farmers. Is a case sub-enlarged enlarged case is a case educational dairy farms. But what difference is sub-enlarged case? They don't do any processing and direct selling. They don't do that. But enlarged case, they do processing and direct selling. So that is a difference. So pre-enlarged case, there's no orientation toward the diversification. No diversification. And education dairy farm, educational services just volunteer, kind of volunteer. So educational service itself is not a business. So this is a little bit complicated, but actually this is a reality. So that is why enlarged case, they try to get business, new business from the consumers that who come to visit farmyard.
Okay, many thanks, Yasuo. Yes, Nguyen Nguyen says, thank you. He got it.
Thank you.
Get it.
Thank you.
And we have another question concerning the umami sensor. Yasuo.
Umami sensor. Okay.
So we have a question concerning this notion of umami. And when you are talking about this notion, is there a link with the prevention of gaspillage of the waste for the food? Understand? Is there a link between umami and waste of food?
Yeah. I don't. I cannot answer this question.
But I think the question is very interesting concerning
it's
concerns of tourists.
Point, but
yes,
I cannot say anything about this point. Yeah, it's interesting point. Yes.
So perhaps
And
it's
but yeah, I think yeah, that's true. Yes, yeah, that's a high possibility because in you if you have a good sense of umami, you don't eat too much, and just a small portion you satisfied with food, and that is yeah, probably reduce the food waste. Could be food waste.
mhm, mhm.
But as a food business, it's better to people eat much as a business.
Exact. For food
Yeah,
and beverage management.
yeah, right. This is a big contradiction, yeah, dilemma.
Exact. Mm. So, do we have another question? I think that Nguyen and Nguyen, we propose some answer to your questions, and so if we do not have other question, we can stop here this presentation, and I would like
you.
to thank you another time, Professor
Thank
Ohe,
you.
for taking time to explain us your researches, which are very interesting. And
Thank you very much.
perhaps I can ask to the student to leave the webinar, and I can propose to my colleagues from the laboratory and you, Yasuo, to stay here on Zoom
Thank
for a
you.
few minutes to talk, a few minutes. So I will stop
Thank you very much.
the recording, and many thanks, Yasuo. Merci beaucoup pour tes
Thank you very much,
présentations.
and thank you very much for giving me such opportunity, and thank you for coming. Thank you.